My name is Adrian Nanchev, and this channel is all about helping you become a remarkable entrepreneur. And I'm talking about who should entrepreneurs be in a relationship with. Essentially, entrepreneurs need to be in a relationship with someone that shares the same values and priorities as you with regards to business, entrepreneurship, finance, making money, leveraging your time, valuing your time, and serving and helping your customers. As well as things like understanding economics and understanding how the world functions. You see, I've been in a few relationships with some women that weren't interested in entrepreneurship. Probably the worst relationship I was in was a girl I was with about 2 years ago, where she was just totally averse to business, totally averse to entrepreneurship, didn't like very much the business that I was running at the time, and I think one of her friends were quite jealous that I was doing that kind of stuff. One of her male friends, in fact, he was a lot older than me, jealous of doing that kind of stuff because they were real losers. She was very averse to business and learning as well, because I encouraged her from the beginning to read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, but she never did read the book, and I kept encouraging her to read it because the important lessons that can change people's lives and things that are worthwhile knowing. And near the end of the relationship, she said that I tried to dupe her into reading a book. Dupe. It's as though duping people, tricking people into reading books is a really bad thing to do, oh, don't read this book, don't become smarter. Ooh. And there's another time when I was with her in a bookstore, and there was this book on display, which is How to Speak Money. It's essentially just a book on a glossary on different phrases and what it means, like arbitrage and momentum, gold bugs, gold standard, capitalism, stuff like that. And she flicked through it very quickly, and she said to me, she knows all this. Well, she said to me, I know all this stuff. She was so hot-headed that she knew more than what the book had to offer, and she already knew all these things. And I instantly thought to myself, well, what are you doing to apply that? How are you applying it? Her attitude towards business was very negative, rather toxic. So you don't want to be in a relationship with people that are toxic and negative towards what you're doing. She told one of her friends about the business that I had. He goes on to it, and then he talks about how my website gave him viruses. A load of BS. So be careful of people who are negative. You want to have someone who's got the same priorities and interests as you. This is very important. You know, in Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant kind of thing, there's the employees who exchange their time for money. There's the specialists that have their own firm or self-employed. Business owners, they're leveraging out a system and people and places and technology. An investor, where he has his money work for him. E's and I's don't mix well with B's and E's and S's don't mix well with B's and I's. She was very much on the E, and I was very much on the B quadrant. Not a good mix. I had another girlfriend recently. She wasn't ambitious at all. She understood what I was doing and appreciated it, but she wasn't ambitious, and she was happy to work, doing her 9 to 5. And nothing wrong with that, which I'll explain later. Nothing wrong with that, but I encouraged her to expand her comfort zone, learn new ideas and concepts, and she could become an entrepreneur herself. Figure out what she was passionate about and find ways to monetize it. I encouraged her to become self-employed and do stuff like this on YouTube, but she just didn't dare. All she wanted was the adventure. She wanted to relax. She wanted to travel the world. She wanted all the pleasures of life, but she didn't want to buckle down and build a good life that could fund that and that could facilitate it easily. I encouraged her that if she became self-employed, or a business person, leveraging systems and people, that she and I could afford a 6-month holiday twice a year. And then she wouldn't have to work for somebody else, and she'd only work for herself. And the money would still come in automatically. But she wasn't willing to do that. And it's a real shame, because we had a lot of potential together. I look for two things, really, in a relationship. It's, values are in sync, with regards to entrepreneurship, money making, leverage, approach to time, valuing time, etc. As well as, is she motherly? Do we have a future together as a family? not just as not just like in synced priorities. So that was the second one. Another one that I was in, almost in a relationship, was too much of a workaholic. She was too much just working, and she wasn't interested at all in anything else other than work. And I think at one point she was working 7 days a week. And I asked her, "Is the firm not taking advantage of you? They taking advantage of her?" She said, "Probably, yeah, but she's willing to do it." So we connected online, but it didn't go anywhere, unfortunately. But you want to look for someone who's in sync with you, and that has a future together. Otherwise it's going to be like the first one, where we're not too negative, too dragging me back, or the second one where we're not interested at all, wants all the fun, wants all the pleasure, but doesn't want anything else. My idea was that entrepreneurs are doing the work that people won't do, so in the future we can live the life other people can't live. Now, other thing is, all of this is fine, their lifestyle choices are fine, because there's only two real requirements in what you're doing in life. First one is to be happy with what you're doing. You can be recording videos, writing books, doing anything you want, as long as you're happy to do it. And the other thing, because it's an emotional requirement, if you're not happy, you're not enjoying your time. Other requirement is to be competent with what you're doing. If you're not competent, you won't get the results of your labour, you won't see the rewards, you won't see the fruits of your work. You'll get discouraged and you think, why am I doing this? What's the point? You won't see the end goal, and the end goal won't be coming closer to you. So those are the two things. So what they're doing, nothing inherently wrong with what they're doing in life, and nothing inherently wrong with them choosing not to be an entrepreneur. But when it comes to being with me, that's not what they want. And when it comes to other entrepreneurs, that is what they've seen as well, where their priorities not the same. Because it's just, I'm moving forward, and if they're holding you back, then it's a counterproductive relationship. It's toxic. It's toxic, and you will look back at it and think, it was a mistake for being in a relationship with her so long. I lost a lot of time, lost a lot of momentum, quite negative, stuff like that. The flip side to all this is, just take a lesson from Donald Trump's first wife, Ivana Trump. In the 1980s, Ivana was running Donald's Atlanta casino. And when she got back to New York with the family, with the children, and with Donald said that she was not a mother per se. She would not stop talking about the business. She was always talking about the money, the finances, or the management. She wouldn't shut off her business side, and she was too much of a business person. So on the other side of the spectrum. Either these ones that are in a relationship, the one that I was in a relationship with, not enough, and Ivana Trump, Donald's wife, too much of a business person. So you got to find that nice balance. You can't have too much of an entrepreneur. And there was this other woman, come to think of it. She was nice. She was an entrepreneur, which is great, but I don't think she was dedicated enough to being an entrepreneur. Or she wasn't interested in me. I can't quite remember. But I've not seen her in over a year, or something like that. Yeah, over a year actually now, it's May. But yeah, that's what you want to look for in someone. Someone that's in the same quadrant as you, employee and specialist, versus business person and an investor. Because investors and business people have the same mindset, same life priorities, same interests. Employees don't, and nor do self-employed people. It's two diametrically opposed worlds, so they've got to be in sync. And then I also say, got to have a future together. Because otherwise, where's the longevity? What's the point? There's no longevity. So those I think those are the kind of people you want to be in a relationship with as an entrepreneur. How cool is that? If this is your first time to the channel, subscribe, because this channel is all about helping you become a remarkable entrepreneur, and I'm glad to have played a small part in that. So subscribe, and you'll see me again soon.